Hey, how are y'all?
Hi, everyone.
Welcome to our latest episode of the Artful Stitch.
And I have to remember that the camera's up there. We're in a new setup. We're in the foyer. The front door is right there. You come into this little foyer room, and off to one side is our living area, and back behind us is my studio. So we're trying out a new area.
Yeah, because we needed a big area to hang up my quilt.
This new quilt, which is one of the topics we're talking about, and we have very limited time, which we'll get into. But for right now,
today we're gonna talk about the Houston Fiber Fest that we visited last weekend. My Hitchcock quilt that's behind us, Rusty's Hitchcock socks.
Yes.
Your work in process basket weave pullover, which you don't have in here, but we can insert it.
True.
And Rusty has got a sock pattern in progress we'll talk about, and some new artwork, and then we'll do Yarn Y'all.
Yeah.
And that'll be our episode.
And we are going to have to, even though we've talked about this in the past, we're going to have to keep it to an hour. So, jumping right in, we started off with the Houston Fiber Fest. And it was my first Fiber Fest.
Yeah, it was. It was like going to a yarn crawl, except everybody was all in one place, and we only had to go to one place to see a bunch of different...
Right. One location, 5 hours away, was a lot faster than a couple weeks worth of going place. I like both. I like the yarn crawls. The individual yarn stores have traveling, I forget what trunk shows.
Right.
And demonstrations, and it's an event. This is a lot of fun. It's kind of a frenzy, and by now, I'm probably showing the video clips.
Yeah, there were actually 5 vendors there from the DFW area, maybe more, but at least that many. And so we knew them, they knew us. It was fun.
We met some new people.
Even some people who live here in the Metroplex in Forney and dye their wool, but they don't have a storefront, but they do sell their wool at some local places, so it was fun meeting them in person. We'd actually gone to Houston to participate in the ordination of 16 new deacons for the Diocese of Texas and the Episcopal Church. I'm an Episcopalian. Hello, Stormy.
Yeah.
And we've had a seminarian student at our church, assigned to our church for the past couple of years, Stormy. And so now he became a deacon. We went down there for that, and we're with a bunch of other people from our church. Here's a picture. Rusty's not actually a member, but everybody knows him, and he'll go to special events with me. And because this was also in Houston. And then we headed out to Northwest Houston to the Fiber Fest at the Berry Center in the Cypress Fairbanks suburbs of Houston. It actually took us 2 hours to get there from downtown because I chose not to get on the freeway. And the memes always say Houston is an hour away from Houston, and this was 2 hours away by not taking the freeway. Anyway, we still had time to see Fiber Fest.
Yeah, but it was a lot of fun. I ended up going in with the goal of not, what is that?
It's okay.
Distractions, squirrel. Of going in and not buying anything until I'd made the rounds. And then there's the perimeter, and then there's the rows, and I made it to the first 5 stops telling people I wasn't buying anything, and then a switch flipped, and you'll see the result.
With Yarn Y'all.
Yeah.
We get there.
We ran out of time. We ended up with Lee from UT Yarn, and anyway, so Fiber Fest was a lot of fun. We met a number of people that hopefully we'll be running into again. in Fort Worth and other places.
Yeah, and Fiberfest in the Dallas area will be here in actually the suburb of Irving in September. So we're going to go again and see everybody that we saw and see them again. It'll be fun.
Yeah. And it is hot and humid down there, but we stayed in one of our favorite hotels, a Lancaster Hotel in Houston, because I have art there.
Yeah.
And it's an art filled with really art that I love. And it's a friend of mine that owns it, who's also an artist. And it was close to the Episcopal activity. Cathedral.
Yeah, which is it was just 4 blocks away, and the hotel is actually across the street from the Houston Opera House, and next door to the theater center, and so it's a really cool area. The hotel's one of those classic boutique hotels. It's really nice, and like Rusty said, it's filled with art by Texas artists, and so we know almost all the artists that have art in this hotel that the owners actually had bought over the years, and then they have hotels all around the world. They have a condo here in Dallas, and then they have one in Berlin, and then they have a penthouse suite in the hotel in Houston, so when they want to stay there. So anyway, we always enjoy staying there. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah. So that was Houston.
Yeah, and so actually the day before we left for Houston, or 2 days before, I drove out to my quilter friend because I'd finished blocking the quilt, I'd finished doing all the sashing, and I took it out to her to quilt, and it's done. I'm so happy. She told me that I did a good job for my first time, and so I'll take that,
Yes.
There's some mistakes, and she fixed a few because she said she would, and that's great. But she said overall it wasn't that bad, and so I'm happy. And we're actually going to be giving it to our friend Dan today in just a couple of hours. So
we're wearing our Hitchcock-inspired shirts
before we go over to his house and watch.
He's Psycho and I'm the bird.
Yes. And my quilt, if you've been following me on Instagram, is Hitchcock-themed. I printed out a lot of movie stills onto fabric that you can print through the inkjet printer, cut it out, sew it in.
Treat it like normal fabric.
Treat it like normal fabric. You just rinse it with cool water, let it dry, and then sew it in, and it's done. And I'm happy. I'm very happy with it. It's a process I will be doing again as I make some more quilts, because I have some more quilts planned for the rest of the guys in our group and our friend Nancy also, but I won't talk a lot about that because it's going to be a surprise for her. The other guys in the group already know I'm going to be making them something because they had
He
to know.
spilled the beans.
They had to know because I'll be giving this to Dan today in front of them. So
yeah, that's why we are. That's why we're in a hurry because we're going over to Dan's theater, which if he lets me, if it's not too awkward, I might be taking a little video showing you all the Hitchcock theater, the Brook Hollow theater.
The Brook Hollow is what he calls it.
Yeah.
It's his home theater, and it's really cool.
I'll let it speak for itself, and but we have an appointment or a viewing at noon, and it's Dan's birthday, so.
Cheers. Welcome to the Brook Hollow Hitchcock Cinema.
His birthday is coming up this week on the 6th. He was supposed to be retiring on his birthday, but the company decided that he was going to retire back in March. So we had kind of an impromptu party back then, but I had already started working on this quilt with my Zoom quilt-along group, and we started in January. Most people finish in April, but we don't have any kind of deadline where we all have to be done at the same time, so that's nice. The quilt is it's Tula Pink's book of 100 modern quilt blocks.
City Sampler. Right?
And it's City Sampler. Yeah, it's got all those names. Here's a copy of the book cover.
Edit.
I chose to do only 70 blocks and make the twin size. I think mine is a little bit wider, maybe a little longer than a normal twin, but when I make the quilts for Matt and Paul, they're going to be totally based on a twin size sheet.
Yeah, it's just under 8 feet.
Yeah, but
long, tall.
I love it. I love it. I'm going to be making more quilts. This is my first one. I cannot keep them all, so I'm already glad that I've already got this plan to start making and giving.
Yeah, you started one other. This is the second one, but this one's all the way finished. Are you going to go back to that first one?
The first one is, if you remember in our other episodes, the Alaska Rainbow Quilt. Once I got all the blocks made, I realized they were not all the exact same size, and some of them are a little cattywampus, and I'm like, And Amy, my quilting friend, her business is called Meant to be Stitching, she said she'd help me with it. So, I really want to do it myself, and I will come back to it, but I know how other quilters and knitters have works in progress, and they'll get put away on a shelf for a while. So that's what I've done. I took it all down off of my block board, and I bagged it. I took it row by row. I labeled each row, and so each piece, they're all in order, the way they go up, and then they're in stacks bound together with a row number, and I put those in big Ziploc bags just to keep them safe.
They all look almost the same, and there's a specific order, so what could go wrong?
Well, to start, they're not the same size, and some of them are cattywampus.
Well, it's going to be cool. This one isn't perfect. There's a few that drift a little bit, but it adds so much character.
It does.
I mean, I'm always trying to get things perfect, but it doesn't take away anything.
It doesn't, but Well, you've been knitting for over 50 years, so you are very, very good.
I'm very experienced.
Other experienced knitters look at yours and go, wow.
And then I look at other people's and I go, wow.
I know.
Okay, so let's...
So what are you making for Dan? What have you made for
So I
Dan?
had been talking about this, and Dan, if you're watching, here's more of the story. So one of the Hitchcock movies that we had watched together at Dan's Theater is The Trouble with Harry. And I think it's 1955 movie, I'm pretty sure.
Shirley MacLaine's first movie.
Yeah, John Forsythe.
Jerry Mathers, not as the Beaver, but he's in there as Shirley MacLaine's son.
To keep things moving kind of quickly, there's this one scene where a guy's discovered dead in a field, and you see this image of these 2 feet sticking up, and it's like a bluish gray sock with a red tip on each one, but you see the bottoms of his feet. Yeah, red toe. And so I thought, I could knit Dan a socks that I don't know what to call them, souvenirs, sculptures, whatever. But I wanted to knit him a pair of Argyle socks because I did more research looking for pictures, and these green, yellow, gray, red socks.
Argyle. Yeah.
Argyle socks. And I found a pattern from the 1950s. It was an old magazine article, and the instruction, or at the top of the instructions, it was a little drawing of a lady, and it said, "The socks Mrs. America likes to knit, the socks Mr. America likes to wear." And it was just so cutesy. I just seemed perfect, and I wanted something authentic from the 50s. So I did this pattern, and it had a number of changes from socks, because I've been in a mood to knit a bunch of socks, and I've done different heels and toes and all that, but I had never done intarsia. So this is knit flat, and this is what I ended up doing. So I finished. Now I would like to show you guys flat and have good pictures, but I got these silicone feet, and
they're so cool.
I won't be able to show it, but you can see, maybe you can see, each toe bends separately. It's got all the footprint, like fingerprints, but it's got toe prints. It's got all the texture and wrinkles of a foot. It is amazing. It's got the weight of a foot.
How many dead cut-off feet have you lifted?
And so if you go up to touch it, it's
creepily real.
It's creepily real because your fingers go in under the toe folds and everything.
So
but then
it's 2.
Yeah. So I did 2 of them, and I've had them sitting here on our bookshelves, like in between the books, because they're a little bit heavy, so I don't know how to stabilize them. But in between a pair of books, this is really awesome. So I'm really excited to give these to Dan, and
let's give a shout out
see if he approves
to Stacy of Yarn and You, for you just sent her a fuzzy picture of those socks, and said, "Pick out the yarn for me that would be the good colors," and she did, and she mailed it to you, and they're beautiful socks.
Yeah, she gave me a couple choices to the gray. I ended up, this is the second pair. The first pair I did with the gray that I just wanted to test the pattern, and I didn't do a red cuff or a red heel.
Yeah.
I did just the toe, and that actually might be more authentic. The more I looked into pictures, the heel might not have been red, but
the toe was.
But then this gray I liked a little bit more. It's the same. This is the same yarn for all the different colors, so it goes together really well. The gray, the background color on my first pair, it was a little nubbier
and bluer.
It was a little grayer. This is a little bluer.
Oh, was it grayer? Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Can you see that toes wiggle it?
Yeah.
Anyway, so I'm really excited to give them to. I've been working on them for months, and you've been working on yours for even longer.
Well, I started in January and I finished in May, toward the end of June, and then she quilted it within a week, and I really appreciate that because she knew I had a deadline to get it to our friend.
And who knew that sewers or quilters accumulated fabric as quickly
I know.
as knitters? I mean,
we had stashes too, don't
I
we,
was
folks?
afraid he wasn't going to finish this before he had bought enough to make like 20 quilts.
Oh, I'm there.
Okay, so
the next thing is your basket weave pullover.
Oh, which
Stephen West.
I'll show a video. We're kind of built in here. I'm not going to get up to get it.
It's the foyer. It's the mudroom, foyer, front door, whatever.
But I'm doing the Stephen West basket weaver. Not a cardigan, just pullover sweater, and I'm loving the pattern. It's easy to memorize. I'm getting better. I'm going to estimate here. I think I might have knit 8 sweaters in my whole life. I haven't knit that many sweaters.
You've knit me 2 now, or 3. 3, yes.
And I've knit myself several, and Tommy one, and my dad one, and my mom. Anyway, so less than 10 probably. But lately I'm getting a lot better because I know I check the gauge, and I know the gauge means knitting it, and not just measuring, but blocking it, and then, pulling on the fabric every direction and letting it settle and measuring that. And then trying it on with, because the sweater I'm doing it now, the basket weaver is a yoke down, neck down with a yoke, and being able to try it on. And so lately the last few sweaters have fit a lot better.
Yeah, they have.
And it's so much more satisfying to spend the time and then have it fit instead of,
So now I have the sweater blocked, and it hangs a lot nicer. At first I was kind of worried that the sleeves were too tight, but this pattern, the weave makes it pillowy or something until it's blocked, and it's smoother now, and it feels really nice. But it grew a little bit, and I'm thinking I might undo the cuff or the bottom ribbing and move up a couple repeats and then put a new ribbing with a smaller needle. It suggested 2 needles down from what I knitted this with. I used a US 7, and it suggested ending with a 7, except at one point it said 1 needle size, so I got thrown off. So I'm thinking of redoing that length and that needle size to make it a little tighter. And I'm trying to decide how much to leave the cuff, how long to make this, because when I raise my arm, I have quite a bit of room. I don't know if I really want to make it an extra, say, 6 inches or so, or what. So I've got to make the decision soon. And next time, to be extra picky, I might not do as many repeats of the pattern bands on the yoke. I might go up 1 because it might be nice to have just a little bit less under the arm. But other than that, I am super happy with this pattern and the feel of this yarn, and I wasn't sure about the bright green color, but I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
And then when we showed y'all last time the Dustland cardigan, Stephen West Dustland cardigan that Rusty knit for me, now that it's super hot and super humid, it comes in so handy in the office where the air conditioning is on meat locker freeze. I don't know what they're doing, but I love my new sweater at the office this summer.
Well, yeah, and there'll be more coming. We both like the Stephen West designs.
I do.
That reminds me, I'm getting ready to do the Stephen West Surprise Sock Along.
Oh, yeah.
SSAL. And I ordered, so this will take me into
Oh, we don't want to go to Yarn Y'all yet.
Yarn Y'all. Well, we don't.
No, go talk about your sock pattern progress.
Okay.
First.
Okay. My sock progress?
Your sock pattern progress?
My sock pattern. Well, I don't have it here. I talked about it. I'll just give you a little update.
Right, and you can insert.
Right now it's in a Word document and a Photoshop document. I'm trying to draw a graph at the proper scale for knitting to make a pattern for my hexagons. My artwork at my last show was based on knit intarsia hexagons, and I'm doing these socks out of that using the same type of technique that I use for the Argyle socks for Dan. So I'm knitting the leg and cuff flat and then joining them and knitting the rest in the round. And so I'm trying to figure out, I've knit the socks a couple times, and I'm trying to find the right needle size. That I might have 2 needles, and I need to change this stitch count on the hexagons to because I need a few different sizes. I got a men's large with 72 stitches, or with 60 stitches, and I need less for a woman's size. Anyway, I'm in the middle of it. It's not interesting without pictures, but that's what I'm trying.
You'll insert them.
That's what I'm trying to figure out. Well, I don't want to show my chart.
You could you can
No.
show. It doesn't have to be detailed showing.
Yeah.
It can be blurry.
Yeah, the chart. If you write a pattern
out.
and I write down knit 3, change color, knit 8, change color, whatever, and if I write it out, that pattern using the knit symbol is not copyrightable. But the chart is. The chart, any pictures, any verbal description, but as soon as I get down to the actual, writing out the pattern, that's not copyrightable. So that's why people don't really want to show patterns.
Okay.
And the charts are the most, I don't know, I view it as the valuable part of it.
Right. So you're also working on some new artwork too,
Yeah, I've got, and again, it's in my head, it's on the computer. I've actually started knitting little swatches, but I'm trying to figure out a few things. One, like yarn, where is it? There's this yarn here that changes color. It's this orange rust, and it goes to a deep blue on the inside.
What brand is it?
It's Bilum, B-I-L-U-M, Bilum Lolly, and it's merino, and it must be a sport weight. Anyway, a number of yarns have this gradient, and taking advantage of that, like I did a Stephen West rainbow shawl for last year for Pride Month. And it did these long rows that got shorter. You kept doing short rows until you were just at the end. And then you started doing long rows again and shortened and shortened it. And because of that variation, it really showed you how the color had been changing. Because it looked like you were in the same color, but as soon as you went back to the beginning, it's like, oh, now I'm at a new color. And it made these beautiful changing color wedges. And there's also slip stitch. I did some slip stitch socks where the stitch from the rows, previous rows, you get pulled to a few rows out, so you get to see the color changes. And I've been really into exploring how the color changes work, and I've been starting to practice with my knitting pixel intarsia, or hexagon intarsia, and how that captures, a certain segment of the yarn, and then the next one and next one, and to create a gradient, kind of stair-stepped gradient out of the hexagons. And that probably got everyone lost. Hopefully I'll have a picture.
We'll see.
But I'm working on some photo ideas. I love the idea of exploring photography through knitting, which seems like such an odd combination, but I've just got ideas so that's kind of the way I've been heading.
Well, that's a great segue with that ball of yarn right there, that cake, for Yarn Y'all.
Yarn Y'all, yeah.
Hand me my bag, I'll go first.
Okay. Because we're like 26 minutes into...
That's fine, once you edit it all in. So, one of the women that went with us last weekend, she's retired, and she lives in a retirement building. It's a high-rise, an old office high-rise that's been converted to senior living. Not assisted living, just... You have to be 62 or older to live there, and about 5 or 6 people from my church all live there, and they all tend to ride together to church, and they ride together to this grocery store, and they ride together. They rode together to Houston for the ordination last weekend. And so one of them was Bunny, cute little retired lady. Who loves to knit, and she had a huge stash of yarn, but one of the other guys that lives there, I won't say his name, but he likes to take control of stuff, and he decided her stash was too big, and so he went through it and
he just cavalierly said, she doesn't need all that yarn.
Yeah, I keep an eye on him when he comes to our house. So I asked her in private, I said, what are your favorite colors while we were there? Because I said, we're going to Houston Fiber Fest this afternoon. She said, red and blue. And I said, okay. So I got her some yarn. So I got her this. So
Hampton's a bad influence.
I'm a bad influence. But the lady, she lost her stash. She needs another stash. So I got her this kid mohair.
Savvy Skeins.
And it's so soft. I don't know what she might do with it, but it's blue.
She could add it into this.
It's blue, and she might add it into this kit that I bought for her. And I sent you the picture that you will add in to show what it looks like knit up. But it's red and blue, makes a nice scarf. And I saw this.
Closer.
It was the last. It was the last kit of this color that they had. It's Noli?
It's Noli, hand-painted yarns. And this pattern is called Trickery, a knit stole from Knits by Jen, KNITSBYJENN. Yeah, it's got and I like that red. I like red and blue, that combination.
Yeah. Very patriotic, since this is the 4th of July weekend here in the United States. Pride Month just ended yesterday, but it's always pride in our hearts and in our homes, right? Keep the pride alive. But next, we're celebrating the 4th of July. But first, we have to go to a
there's actually kind of a
Hitchcock movie at Dan's house today. But we're watching, I think, the 3rd or 4th silent movie.
Third. Downhill.
Yeah,
I had never been really eager to see silent movies. I had seen Metropolis, and recently we saw Dracula. Nosferatu. And really with Dan's explanations, I have gotten really excited about seeing how Hitchcock started.
Yeah. And following his whole career and seeing all 53 or 52 of his available movies. One was lost. The very second silent
you're
movie,
hanging up.
I know, was lost. Okay.
So I got one from Noli.
Yes, okay.
Which one did I get? Yarn Y'all. Well, there's just so much here. I don't know. It wasn't this. Oh, here it is. Oh, it's not Noli. It's Noti.
Oh, Noti.
Noti. This is 100% merino superwash fingering. But throughout the as we walked around, the Fiber Fest,
you went for a theme.
I kept going toward these blue, yellow with some lighter highlights and kind of Van Gogh Starry Night. And
For you, Craig,
so
but more Starry Night.
I ended up, and these are going to be out of order, but this is one of my favorite dyers, Chicken Coop Dye Works. And she has awesome, intense colors. And I know she's done neutrals, and she's good at that, but I like the colors.
We have featured her with an interview before. She is a DFW area dyer.
And so,
sweet lady.
Just multiple blues, almost getting into the purple a little bit, and then it's got this rust and sea green, really beautiful. But so here's another kind of, can be Van Gogh sky. I could see that, and here's a third one from Passion Yarns. High quality hand dyed yarns at everyday low prices. This one's called Don't Let Go Superwash, 75 superwash, 25% nylon. And so here's my third. I might have to insert others. But I just kept going for this blue, yellow, and usually I would say, no, I already have something similar. I don't need it. And not just in my hand, but back in my stash. And I just kept going because I thought, no, I'm going to have this great comparison, and I might do pixels of each one, and I might be able to kind of shape the sky. And so anyway, I got a lot of similar things very intentionally, and even one other untangled yarn. And this was at the Modern Skein, and they're in Montgomery, Texas. I have been saying that for all these. Fingering weight, superwash merino, and it's got this kind of grayish blue and cream yellow with some highlights of gold and almost.
And this one knits up really pretty. It's like it ends up being mainly a light yellowy colored sock with just little blue dashes all kind of grouped together, and I really like that.
Well, so they had two sock blanks, and they had knit one tubes with 60 stitches,
that's right,
and one with 72 stitches. And because I knit my socks usually with 72, I could easily see, and they were similar, but you could see the character change. One had kind of a pooled, wavy line that slowly diagonally went through it, but it was all these stripes of the blue and the light with the subtle changing. It was really beautiful. But again, blue, yellow with lights, and so here's a kind of another Starry Night, not as obvious.
Not as obvious.
So going quickly, when we first walked in, these guys were really friendly. Bill and Mario?
Mario, and there's Cardis over here. What's that red
yeah, you
card,
can.
that little red card. Because they are Rancho Inca alpacas. They raise their own alpacas. They are near, right outside Navasota, Texas, which is north of Houston, outside of Houston, near Huntsville.
And they raise their alpaca. Right. At least, I mean, they look like their friends, their family, and everything. And this is superfine, Texas grown, 80%, 20% merino with silk. And the different plies. There's a blue and a olive brown and a gold. So there's three colors in there. And I've just realized lately that you don't need nylon to give more structure to your merino or your other fiber. That silk works and bamboo works, and so I'm going to try it out. And these guys were great.
They were a lot of fun.
So
they
friendly.
Had a lot of extra products. They also send their alpaca wool to South America, and then in South America, they actually then turn it into a fabric, and then they'll make like vests out of it. So they had, and then they send them back, and Bill and Mario sell those, and they were really nice.
Oh yeah.
I didn't want to spend $250 at Fiberfest. I bought these two also. Here I am, not the knitter, and I bought them. But I'm hoping that Rusty will make us each a pair of socks, and probably with a different pattern, so we can tell whose is whose.
Just force me to knit another pair of socks.
Yeah.
I am kind of hooked on that lately. Okay, so time crunch. Moving on. Another one that I really loved was Hummer's Homestead alpacas, and
they're near Austin.
Did you want to see any?
Near Austin, Texas.
McDade, Texas.
Yeah, but I think they said it was near Bastrop. I think that's what she said, near Bastrop. Oh yeah, the phone number is area code 512. So that's the Austin area of Texas, Central Texas.
And what I liked about this, and I'm sure Bill and Mario are just as close to their animals, but it was so cool. So I've got a picture on this from Hummer's Homestead, and this is Willow. This is the alpaca Willow, and this is her undyed.
Yeah.
Yarn from her undyed wool.
Yeah.
Or is it called wool? It is.
Yeah, it's wool, isn't it?
Alpaca.
Yeah.
You know, I am not positive, but
tell us, people.
There was a whole
Make
spectrum.
comments.
There was a whole different tone. There was cream, whitish cream, all the way to darker brown. This was somewhere in the middle. And if you want more yarn of the same, you don't go by dye lot. You have to tell them which animal. So I got Willow, and this is the most wonderfully smooth, silky. It's just beautiful, and I'm really looking forward to. Out of almost everything, I'm looking forward to knitting something from Willow.
Because they said if you want to order more yarn of the same color, all you have to do is say, "I want some more Willow."
Right. I just said that. He's always listening so closely to what I'm saying.
He listens to me well, too.
Okay, and then
25 years off.
Another place that we went was Red Stag Fiber, and I think I just got one, and I liked a lot. This is me intending not to buy anything, so I ended up like scanning for the one thing that caught my eye first, even though lots of things actually did.
Go ahead.
Oh yeah, and so this was what, Josh, and he travels around Europe, and the colors are inspired by Europe, so it had its own character, the booth, but this is just really beautiful, rich olive green.
He's based in Conroe, Texas, which is north of Houston. It's on the other side of I-45 from Navasota, so it's close.
Oh, and one thing about his, so this has 20% yak. So, and I actually haven't knit. I've bought it a few times, and it's in my stash. But with the natural yak fibers, it's a little browner, it's a little earthier. So the colors knit with yak, and so it's 70 superwash merino, 20% yak, 10% nylon. But that yak makes it all kind of harmonious. It all has this earthiness to it that I really love.
And his also, Red Stag, is also available at some local yarn stores here in the DFW area. So.
Oh, yeah. Is it Dallas Knits? Or what is that new store?
Yeah, Dallas Knits, but that was the people in Forney.
Oh.
That we have still to go here.
Which one well, I have lost track.
Well, we're following. There's all the cards. Let me see all the cards. And
here.
Yeah. So
here's some more things. Passion yarns. We got little tchotchkes and stitch holders from a number of them.
Of course.
We did that
I
one.
did that one.
Joel and Julie. Oh, Wander, that goes with this. Wander, look where, does it say we're there?
Yeah, they're based in Forney, which is in the DFW area east of Dallas.
And so this is 75 merino, 25% nylons, fingering, Wander Luck fibers, hand-dyed yarns, and I just am a sucker for this kind of mottled green, and I don't know. It reminds me of money. Like if money were shredded up, it would kind of be these colors. U.S. paper money.
Oh, we have a 10% coupon.
Well, so we have
for
to go.
Red Stag, and he will be at Dallas Fiber Fest.
So we have to.
So
we have
will
to use
Rancho Inca. They'll also be at Dallas Fiber Fest.
So I did get this, and I've already talked about it. I've got a few of these, so I'll be doing something with them together soon. And then our last stop was U2 Yarn. We were running out of time, and we quickly went by there. Yeah. And I have been buying. I have, let's say, 5 or so of her swirls. So it's 5 20-gram minis.
You bought a ton of
put together
yarn from her.
I know.
The past couple of years.
I know. And I tried to make my pattern that I talked about earlier with the hexagons, all using this set of 5 20 grams, so 100 grams in total, set of a pair of socks. However, if I want the background color the way I want it, I need a lot more of one color. So this time I did add another U2 yarn. Her sock base is called Dreamin' BFL. So blue face Leicester fingering sock yarn, and it just I think just a good neutral color will blend perfectly with those other neutral blues and greens. And so I'm going to try to do my sock pattern with a swirl and a main color. And okay, so to keep us moving, that was it for the Houston Fiber Fest, Yarn Y'all. But like I had started saying earlier in our recording here, I ordered a kit from Stephen West for his surprise sock along, #SSAL. And if any of you have joined in on those announced sales or kit purchases or ceramics or whatever, your heart gets going. You're hoping what you got in your basket you'll be able to actually buy. And I managed to get, no, we don't know the pattern yet. That's going to come out July 6th, I think, as we get the first clue. And I think it's 4 clues, so 4 different weeks to knit this pair of socks. And you start out with 2 skeins of yarn, and I think the socks are called Contrast Blast. And so there's, and he's good with color and color pops and lots of patterns that 2 color patterns.
Bag too. I like the bag good.
So he's sent with a little bag, and I don't know if you can see, it's got cat hair all over it. Mr. Pearl.
Her life has cat hair.
Sock knitter for life in a pale pink. Is really cute. And so this was the kit. I actually got 2. So
2 kits.
And it's Momonoke. And it's one of the yarns that Stephen West carries, Stephen and Penelope. And it's just 4-ply sock, 75 superwash, and 25 polyamide. I guess that's nylon or a nylon-like thing. And then a couple hours later, I started seeing that there were these other kits that hadn't been as expensive, and those were all sold out. But I went to the yarn section on his website, and I got the same yarn, and I saw some combinations that were still available, and they were on sale. So for like about half price or so. I got a black and a white. And here's another one where I want to try. Sorry, I'm rubbing your face.
That's okay.
There I did.
Maybe they'll show up without being fuzzy if you put it in front of your face.
This is called onion nettle sock yarn. So it's 70 wool and 30% nettle fibers. And so instead of nylon or whatever, I guess the nettle adds the structure. So that'll be interesting. So I'm going to be trying that alternate tube. Oh, okay, I was wrong. It takes 2 and 2, but these are just 50 gram.
That makes sense. Yeah.
50 gram skeins. So I'm gonna, and I thought because it's just 1/4 of a sock once a week, I could easily handle doing 2 socks. So I'm looking forward to that.
And there's another West wool that you've got.
So I've shown the basket weaver, and I think it's taking about 6 skeins of his West wool tandem, the DK weight, and so at the same time, because this was on sale too, I think it was 30% off. I kind of went crazy and I bought. I had just knit your Dustland cardigan, and I wanted to knit my own, so I got this. I think it's Cardamuma, Kardemumma. Yeah, this good fall pumpkin spice yarn. There, that'll get you to not like it. It's too early. but anyway, so I might knit another Dustland cardigan. I might try to do the basket weaver and convert it into a cardigan. That now that I'm used to the pattern, I might do that.
Yeah, I love that basket weaver, but I don't really like a pullover. I want a cardigan because I don't want to mess my hair up taking it off.
Yeah, that's a big issue.
It used to be an issue, but not so much anymore. But it's easier to take on and off because we don't really need a lot of sweaters here unless you're inside in the air conditioning. Anyway.
Oh yeah, the Stephen West, the kit came with stickers. Now I don't know what I'll do with them because I don't wear stickers. I guess I could do it anyway.
Stick them on the car.
Okay, one last thing. I did order some yarn from Blue Fiber Company. It's this
Portland, Oregon.
In Portland, Oregon, and I had seen him on Instagram, and he does some, I don't know what to call it, UV or phosphorescent dyes, so mixed, some of his colors are phosphorescent. So I think if you warm to a place that had UV lights, whoop, whoop. Yeah, one of those places, it would stand out. I love them just for the color, and this is one of the sets. I guess this is a mini set, 5 minis, and the other ones that I've ordered haven't come in yet. So
they should be here this afternoon.
Yeah, I was hoping they would show up, but
edit a picture in.
I was hoping they'd show up, but anyway, so I have way too much yarn, so I don't know what I'm thinking. It's a sickness.
I have as much fabric upstairs in my home office / home studio.
So we didn't have anything else planned to talk about.
No, we're good.
No way. People aren't going to know what to do.
As we head on out to our Hitchcock movie, I will leave you with this thought from Norman Bates. We all go a little crazy we all go a little mad sometimes.
Get the words right.
So, go with it. What's the matter? Go with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We saw Psycho last week because someone in our group had never seen Psycho before.
Yeah.
So we've seen
it several times, but it's always good. So,
yeah.
So, so if we want to thank everybody who's been following us for over a year now, and even for our year away from the camera, but thanks for coming back and watching us some more.
This last time was just a month.
Just about a month ago.
We'll see if we can become a little bit more regular again like we used to be.
Welcome to any new viewers, and if you don't already, hit that subscribe button.
Like you should be.
Like you should
if
be.
If you're not subscribed, like you should be. Anyway, I
and offer us comments. We love comments. We always love comments.
Comments and like and tell your friends. So that's it. And
that's it.
We need to get ourselves out the door.
All right.
So
y'all have a good 4th of July. Oh, happy Canada Day too, also. And
turn off the smoke from the forest fires if possible.
Oh God.
It's not getting down here in Texas. Luckily, we're not affected. Just the East Coast.
Yeah.
So anyway.
Bye, y'all.
Good to see you. Bye.